काफी बड़ा परिवार है मेरा, यही संसार है मेरा। हर दिन मेरी कोशिश है इसे हरा भरा रखने की, कुछ कोशिश घर को मजबूत बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश घर को जीता जागता बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश बड़ों की सेवा की, कुछ कोशिश छोटों को बड़ा बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश नई दिशाएं दिखाने की, कुछ कोशिश उत्साह जगाने की। देश नाम है मेरे संसार का, इंडिया नाम है मेरे परिवार का, टाटा कोशिश जिम्मेदारी निभाने की।
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tata Crucible, the Campus Edition 2022. It's time for us to get started. Please welcome your host, Ms. Rashmi Furtado.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to each and every one of you to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. This is Rashmi Furtado and we're about to begin the first wild card of the cluster number, which is the 9th cluster. The cluster of course is Gujarat cluster, and this year we have had multiple grueling rounds of quizzing, and from that we have come down to 24 clusters in all. Each of the clusters consisting of 2 wildcards and 1 cluster final. In its digital avatar, this quiz has done amazingly well with over 5 million viewers on the internet, and that is for campus version alone. Along with the corporate edition, Tata Crucible viewership has crossed 7 million on the internet. That's how much this quiz has been watched in the last couple of years. Let me quickly introduce our finalists to you and then get into the rules of the game. Our first finalist for the day is Lucky from IIM Ahmedabad. That's Lucky for you. Following him is Vedang from Maika. Up next is Pranav from LDCE Ahmedabad. Arth from Nirma University. Apurva from IRMA. And completing our lineup here today is Hardi from Ahmedabad University. Alright, welcome all of you. Let me quickly go over the rules of the game and then get cracking with this wild card. 10 questions is what I have for all of you. All of them are on the buzzer. Single attempt per question only, multiple attempts are not allowed. +1 if you get it right and -1 if you get it wrong. You have about 5 seconds of time to press the buzzer once I've asked a question. If none of you do so, I will move on to the next question and the previous one would be invalid. You have again 3 to 4 seconds of time to unmute yourself and give me the answer once you have pressed the buzzer. If you take too long, you will end up getting a negative, so please be very careful with this. If you press the buzzer while I'm still reading out the question, you will have to give me an answer right there, because I will stop reading the question as you are indicating to me that you already know the answer. Nothing appears on your screen, so you have to listen to what I have to say. Rest of the rules have been explained to them already, so I will not get into the details. The fair play protocols, of course, are right there on your screen for you. We follow these very, very strictly at Tata Crucible. The audience. The buzzer indicator light for the audience will not be appearing, but I'm here to let you know who has pressed the buzzer. Time for us to get started with our wild card. Top 3 scorers from among the 6 of them will move into the cluster final. The wild cards are all about qualifying to that cluster final and not necessarily winning here in this wild card. Often quizzers get a little carried away by wanting to win, forgetting that these are qualifier rounds and winning in the cluster final is far more important than winning in a wild card. Let's see how these quizzers perform here today. May I request all of you to move your phones into the camera angle, please? The phones are basically their buzzers. All right. Good luck to all of you. Top 3 scorers make it through. Remember that. The first question of this wild card, here we go. Who are the authors of the book In Search of Excellence? Lucky on the buzzer. Go ahead, Lucky.
Yeah, it's authored by Tom Peters.
All right.
Tom Peters.
I give it to you. I give it to you. This was a slightly difficult question. I needed both the names, but I still give it to him because he's absolutely right when he said Tom Peters. Tom Peters and Robert Waterman, the answer I was looking for, giving Lucky the +1. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. The full form of the silk sari manufacturer KSIC is dash. Fill in the blank. All right, I'll help you out with this. I'll give you options. Your options are Karnataka Silk Industries Corporation or Kanchipuram Silk Industries Corporation. Often, options can make the questions even more difficult. No one going on the buzzer, their time is up. Nobody wants to take that negative because you will have to work harder to move into the positives after that. The answer I was looking for, ladies and gentlemen, Karnataka Silk Industries Corporations. This is basically the same company that makes the Mysore silk saris, the well-known brand that is there. So KSIC is Karnataka Silk Industries Corporation. Moving on to question number 3. Which of these companies is a popular Pondicherry-based maker of leather and non-leather bags, jackets? Lucky on the buzzer. Go ahead.
High Design.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. High Design is the answer I was looking for. He didn't even need me to give the options because I started the question by saying which of these companies. I would have given them the options. He's a good quizzer and he seems to be informed today. Let's see what happens. Question number 4. The Taj Lake Palace is in which state of India? Lucky again. Go ahead, Lucky.
Rajasthan.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Rajasthan, in the midst of the Lake Pichola, is the beautiful Taj Lake Palace, giving Lucky his +1. Moving on to question number 5. Who is the author of the book Jonathan Livingstone Seagull that sold over 40 million copies? Lucky, go ahead.
It's Robert someone. Sorry, Robert someone. My bad.
All right, taking a negative on that one is Lucky. Well, the R part was absolutely right, but the name that I was looking for is Richard Buck. Richard Buck would have given you a +1. Nevertheless, he's still on +2. He took one negative, he's still on +2 and leading the quiz as of now. Moving on to question number 6. What is the full form of DIN, as in the DIN number? All right, Lucky again, go ahead.
Director's Identification Number.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Director Identification Number. This is usually for people who are directors in multiple companies. They need to have a DIN number, and that is what I was looking for. Let's move on to question number 7. Okay, guys, remember, 3 of you qualify. It's not just Lucky here. So rest of you also should be attempting on the questions. I can see some of you smiling there. Question number 7, here we go. Controlled by the government of India, what is the full form of FDI? Vedang, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is foreign direct investment.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Foreign direct investment, giving Vedang that +1. Moving on to question number 8. From the business of art, many Madhubani paintings are exported from which state where it originates? Lucky, go ahead.
Bihar.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Bihar, giving Lucky another +1. 2 more questions remaining in this wild card, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you where our contestants stand. As of now, Lucky is leading this wild card with 4 points and Vedang is on 1 point. They are the only 2 scorers as of now. Rest of them are all on nil. 3 of them qualify. So at this point in time, rest of them, all of them have a chance. Let's see what happens. 2 more questions remaining. the penultimate question of this wildcard. Which state in India is the largest exporter of tea? Arts, go ahead.
Assam.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Assam giving Arth a +1. The last question of this wildcard. Here we go. Which of these is not a type of foreign direct investment? Your answer options: doing international trade with another company, or acquiring a company in another country. Apurva, go ahead.
Company in other country.
Acquiring a company in other country. That's what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Taking a negative on that is Apurva. Apurva, my question was, which of these is not a type of foreign direct investment? The answer I was looking for is doing international trade with another company. That does not fall under FDIs, and acquiring a company in another country does fall under foreign direct investment. Ladies and gentlemen, our finalists who have qualified into that cluster final here today are Lucky Call from IIM Ahmedabad with 4 points, and joining him are Vedang from MICA and Arth from Nirma University, both with 1 point each. They make it through to the cluster final. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for us to binge on an audience question. The question for you: Follow Every Rainbow and I Have a Dream are books written by whom? Let me repeat that for you. Follow Every Rainbow and I Have a Dream are books authored by whom? Whichever platform you're watching this quiz on, go ahead, try your luck and key in the answers in the chat box. If you're quick and correct, you will win exciting prizes. Join me in the next wildcard, the second wildcard of this cluster, and after that we move into the cluster final. So join me in the second wildcard. I will see you there. Take care.
आजकल किसी के पास टाइम ही नहीं है जी। अब ऐसे में कोई आपकी दवाइयां बिल्कुल समय से घर डिलीवर करे, अच्छा तो लगेगा ना जी।
वाह जी,
भरोसेमंद है जी। It's 1 mg।
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tata Crucible, the Campus Edition 2022. It's time for us to get started. Please welcome your host, Ms. Rashmi Furtado.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to each and every one of you to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. We have started our journey into the new season of this amazing quiz, and this quiz has been doing so well in its digital avatar. We have crossed over 5 million viewers on the internet, and that is with the campus edition alone. Along with the corporate edition, the viewership has crossed over 7 million. Yes, that is the amount of people who have been watching this quiz on the internet in the past couple of years. Of course, the contestants have gone through multiple grueling rounds of quizzing, and we have finally come down to 24 clusters. Each of this cluster consisting of 2 wildcards and 1 cluster final. And here with me today are the contestants from the second wildcard of the 9th cluster, which is the cluster from Gujarat. Let me introduce our finalists to you, and then we will get cracking with this wildcard. Our first contestant for the day, Yug Dave from SS Ahmedabad. Following him is Hani from SCET Surat, Sheetal from IRMA, Akshat from Irma again. Up next is Pavan from IIM Ahmedabad. And completing our lineup here today is Gaurav from Irma again. Irma seems to be dominating this combination of contestants that we have for the second wild card. But let's see what happens. Let me quickly tell you the rules of the game. 10 questions is what I have for all of them. All the questions are on the buzzers. Single attempt per question only. Multiple attempts are not allowed. +1 if they get it right and -1 if they get it wrong. They have 5 seconds of time to press the buzzer. If they do not press the buzzer in those 5 seconds, I will move on to the next question and the previous one would be invalid. They are not allowed to take more than 3 to 4 seconds to unmute themselves and give me the answer. If they take too long, they will get a negative. Also, top 3 scorers from among the 6 of them will qualify to the cluster final. We have already identified the first 3 finalists from the previous wild card, and now it's time for us to identify the other 3 who will join them. It's now time for us to get into the wild card, but before we get there, let me quickly show you the fair play protocols that we follow very strictly at Tata Crucible. All of them have been briefed about these fair play protocols already. And audience, the buzzer indicator light will not be appearing for you, but I'm here to let you know who has pressed the buzzer. Rest of the rules have been explained to them in detail, so I will not get into it. Now it's time for us to figure out who goes or who qualifies into that cluster final. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to start the 10 questions from this wildcard. The first question, the buzzers are open, contestants. Please be very careful. The first question of this wildcard, here we go. Which of these is not part of the Boston Consulting Group growth share matrix? Your options, cash cow or tiny owl. Gaurav, go ahead.
Tiny cow.
Last one to you, Gaurav. Absolutely right. Tiny owl is the answer I was looking for. In fact, the four titles that they have are dogs, cash cows, stars and question marks. So these are the 4 that come in that growth share matrix that they have, and tiny owl does not feature in that matrix. Let's move on to the second question. The Likert scale is an example of which of these? Endoscopic scale or psychometric scale? Akshat, go ahead.
The first one.
He's absolutely right. Psychometric scale, giving Akshat the +1. Moving on to question number 3. Which of these companies is the #1 auto ancillary in India by total sales as of 2020? Your options, Motherson Sumi Systems or Bosch. Alright, Gaurav on the buzzer, go ahead.
Option number 1.
Option number 1, Motherson Sumi Systems, giving him a +1 again. Gaurav is good with his quiz. He's taking his chances very carefully. He's already on 2 points. Believe me, it's a good place to be in a wild card like this. Let's move on to the 4th question. MTR Foods sold its business to which company? Most of us are aware of MTR. Yes, it's better known brand in Southern India, but we know the brand. Pavan, go ahead.
Is it Orkla Group?
Last one to you. Absolutely right. The Orkla ASA Group, the Norwegian conglomerate, giving him a +1 on that. Beautiful answer there by Pavan. Let's move on to question number 5. Which of these is not a proof of work cryptocurrency? Your answer options, Peercoin or Bitcoin. Sheetal, go ahead.
The first one.
The first one, Peercoin, the answer is what she said, giving her a +1. Absolutely right. Peercoin is what I was looking for as an option, as an answer. Moving on, question number 6. Andhra Bank merged with which large bank? Alright, I'll help you out. ICICI Bank or Union Bank of India? Pavan, go ahead.
Is the Union Bank.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Union Bank, giving him a +1. Moving on to question number 7. Which of these is not a credit rating agency in India? Your options: CRISIL or Stonework Ratings. Gaurav, go ahead.
Option number second.
Option number 2, Stonework Ratings, giving him a +1. Absolutely right, +1 on that to Gaurav. Moving on, question number 8 from this wildcard. Which of these countries is the world's largest exporter of textiles in terms of export value in 2020? Your options: China or Vietnam. Akshat, go ahead.
Vietnam.
Vietnam, giving him a -1. The correct answer that I was looking for is China. Taking a negative on that is Akshat. Ladies and gentlemen, we've completed 8 questions of this wildcard. Time for me to tell you where our contestants stand. As of now, Gaurav from Irma is leading the quiz with 3 points. He's done very well. He's not even taken a single negative. That's a good strategy in a wildcard, especially because qualifying is very important when you are in a wildcard. Close behind him is Sai with 2 points. Sai Pawan is on 2 points as of now. And following him is Sheetal with 1 point. Akshat just took a negative, which is why he's gone back to nil. As of now, even if Sai, Pawan and Gaurav decide to stay quiet, I think they have made it through to the cluster final. But of course, they are free to press the buzzer. Rest of them, all of them have a chance to qualify as of now because nobody is into the negative, so they can very easily still qualify. 2 more questions remaining, the penultimate question of this wildcard. I request all of you to move your phones into camera angle. Question number 9. Which of these companies has a wide range of home improvement products in India? Your answer options: Butler or Essay. Essay spelled as E-S-S-A-E. Butler or Essay. Alright, no one going on this one. The answer I was looking for is Butler. They are very well known for home improvement products, mostly step ladders and things like that, which makes life easier at home. The last question of this wildcard. Here we go. What is the full form of AIMA? A-I-M-A. No answer options on this one. Alright, no one going on this one. I thought this one was easier. Alright, time is up. Since nobody has pressed the buzzer, let me give you the answer that I was looking for. All India Management Association, the answer I was looking for. That is how easy it is. And if you have moved into the college level, it is very possible that you have definitely heard of AIMA, but somehow could not recall it when I asked you in this wildcard here today. Alright, with this, I think we have identified our 3 top scorers who have qualified into that cluster final. Let me quickly tell you who they are. With 3 points, Gaurav from Irma has qualified into that cluster final, and joining him are Pawan from IIM Ahmedabad and Sheetal from Irma. All 3 of them making it through to the cluster final. But ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to binge on an audience question. Your audience question for the day. Splitsvilla is a reality show on which TV channel? Let me repeat the question for you. Splitsvilla is a reality show on which channel? Go ahead and key in your answers in the chat box on whichever platform you're watching this quiz. That does not matter. If you're right and you're faster in giving in your answers, you will definitely win exciting prizes. So go ahead and try your luck at the audience prize, and don't go anywhere. The cluster final is coming up and you will definitely enjoy this cluster final. Believe me on that. We will see you at the cluster final. Thank you so much for joining us.
You gotta move it to the max. You gotta move it in the show. You gotta move it, move it, move it.
The new Nexon EV Max moves you to the max.
Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Pig Brain.
A big hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today at cluster number 9. This is Tata Crucible for Campuses 2022 as we move across the length and breadth of this nation, literally finding one champion at a time to identify the best 24 in business quizzing from across campuses in this country. The last couple of years have been really special once we got onto the digital mode of Tata Crucible. Well, of course, the debate is out there on whether it's the digital version or the ground version that one prefers. But a lot of you from the campus world have really got initiated to Tata Crucible only on the digital platform. And in the last couple of years, it's truly been humbling that we have reached 7 million plus people as viewers of Tata Crucible. And that is staggering. It's humbling at one level. I wouldn't have ever imagined 18, 19 years ago when we were discussing Tata Crucible that 7 million people in India would watch this over a span of a year and a half or so. It's wonderful. It also indicates the preference changes of young India. Today they like knowledge shows, they like information-based entertainment. So that's really wonderful from their perspective, which is more important than what Tata Crucible's really got as numbers. It's the inclination of young India that matters, which is larger. But here today, as we get on to the battle to identify our next champion who will move into the zonals, quick word on the rules before I introduce them to all of you watching this quiz. 24 questions is what I have lined up for them in every cluster. 75 the value of an answer. Why 75? It's because we're celebrating 75 years of Indian independence at Tata Crucible, and we'll come to that in the last frontier of our game. 5 seconds is the value of an answer. They all know the fair play protocols, and all questions are on the buzzer with only one attempt. So, if those are the rules and we are set to play this game, cluster number 9 comes to you from Gujarat. It's a very important state when it comes to Tata Crucible. We've got some really premier institutes of the country which is housed in that lovely state. So the talent is abound and therefore the quality as well. Sometimes champions from these regions can go on to become national champions. So you might want to take a close look at episodes like this. But for the moment, let me introduce you to our 6 finalists before we start playing this game. They've of course gone through grueling rounds of quizzing. First digitally online with the preliminary rounds, then qualifying into the next set of preliminaries online, and then of course the important wild cards or semi-finals as some call it with Rashmi, and now into the cluster final with me. Time for us to take a look at our 6 contenders here today. Qualifying as our first finalist in the Gujarat edition, representing the Indian Institute of Management from Ahmedabad, Lucky. Welcome to you, Lucky, as he walks into this final here from Gujarat. Neighboring him from Gujarat, from Maika, is Vedang. Welcome, Vedang, to this final. Moving across to the Nirma University campus, we pick our 3rd contender in Arth. Welcome to the final, Arth. As we move and travel from Ahmedabad to the beautiful outskirts of Anand, truly a magnificent place. I miss my physical traveling to all these lovely locations and to, of course, the IRMA campus. It's such a beautiful campus. Representing IRMA here today, the lone lady in this battle from Gujarat. Welcome on board, Sheetal. Moving across from Sheetal back to Ahmedabad to pick our next IIM candidate. Representing them here today is Pawan. Welcome to you. And completing our lineup back from IRMA as our final contestant from Gujarat. Welcome, Gaurav. Those then are our 6 contenders here today as we're about to pick action on the first frontier of this battle. It's all about grit, guts, and glory. That's the theme that we believe is going to be required as youngsters like you will enter the workforce of the future. You're going to require a lot more grit. You're going to require a lot more guts because corporates are going to be very demanding because they have a lot of pressure after what the world has gone through to recover their own ground and move forward. And of course, the combination of grit and guts will invariably lead you to a lot of glory. We try to train you in different forms through gamification scenarios like a Tata Crucible to prepare you better for your future and the nation's future. For now, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to pick action on the first frontier. 75 the value, 5 seconds the time. Time for you to find your grit. Here it is. Starting with the first frontier to find your grit. 75 the value, 5 seconds the time. Starting with the first question on your screens now. This is a beautiful collection of books, which essentially is from a young Cornell University graduate, a fifth generation family member of the Tata Group. And these are, well, stories which led to investments where Mr. Ratan Tata seeks advice from this youngster and invests in his personal capacity. Who is this youngster? Arth is going for it from the Nirma University. Yes.
Shantanu.
Well played on Shantanu. Shantanu Naidu is his full name, a young Cornell University graduate. Well, it must be quite a portfolio to write saying, I advise Mr. Ratan Tata. Well, that's overwhelming as a statement, but nonetheless, it is a fact. As we move on to the next one, inspirations coming in from there. And the next one on your screen now. It's a huge pharma giant. Gas Fast, Prega News, Vaccinate My India was a very large campaign from them. Which pharma giant? Gujarat is big for its pharma. Vedang has gone for it. Yes, Vedang?
I'll go for Mankind.
Is absolutely correct. He gets Mankind absolutely right. He gets a 75. So two of them off to a good start. And well, of course, as we speak pharma, we also have Tata 1mg with us as one of the supporters of Tata Crucible. And they are strong advocates of health, hygiene and wellness, which I think is becoming even more important in a post-pandemic world. Two of them on 75, early start. Gujarat typically plays like that. As we move to the next question on your screen now. These are brothers, Nikolai and Pavel. They gave the world something very, very important. In terms of security and user integrity, they are among the highest. They were in the news because another platform was into a little bit of a disclosure-related issues, and these people therefore became super popular very quickly across the world. Someone's gone for it. Lucky it is. Go ahead, Lucky.
Just taking a guess. I'll say Telegram.
Well played. That's a good guess if that was a guess, and he'll get a 75. Three of them are on 75. If you could just hold your buzzers. Pavan, just move a little back. Gaurav too. You're holding your buzzers because you're so close to the camera, we're not able to see the buzzer. Yeah, that's fine. All right, here's the next one on your screens now. Identify this auto brand, which actually had the hand of an ex-prime minister of a country, Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad. He played a role in the creation of this brand. Pavan's gone for it from IIM Ahmedabad. Yes, Pavan?
Is it Proton?
Well played. Beautifully played. Proton is a vehicle, a Malaysian auto entity, which essentially had the Prime Minister having a role in it. Well played. Everyone's playing well. Four of them on 75. It's a very different start to this cluster. As we go to question number 5 in the first frontier, here it is. You're On is a very big campaign by a luxury range of a popular eyewear brand. Who says You're On? They changed their glass frame structures. Pawan's going for it. Yes, Pawan.
Let me. Is it Ray-Ban?
Well played. Ray-Ban had a typical glass frame for their eyewear. They really started experimenting with different shapes and made it premium too. You're on in a luxury category is absolutely correct. As we go on to the final question on your screens now. This is called meaningful rear view mirrors. A global automobile brand started creating the importance of rear view with such astonishing images. It is believed the founder of this automobile giant took personal care in those days when his automobiles were created on how the rear view appearance would be. So much so that they even had so-called conferences in those days on getting the rear view right. Which great brand from the world is this? No one's on the buzzer. 5 seconds of time lapsing. The answer that I was looking for is Ford Motors. Henry Ford is legendarily believed to have taken a lot of interest in the rear view mirror. Well, ladies and gentlemen, early days here today on the first frontier of Tata Crucible's campus quiz for 2022. You're watching the Gujarat final with me, Pig Brain. But before we take a quick break, well, I tell you what, this quiz has started very differently in comparison to a lot of other clusters. It explains the closeness and the quality of all the contestants here. So it's one episode that you do not want to miss. I'll be back with you on the other side of this break to tell you where exactly they are on what we now call the binge board. Give me a moment. We'll be back. Stay with us.
एक सजेशन दो जी.
क्या जी?
अपने टाटा प्ले के साथ बिंज ऐप ले लो जी.
क्यों जी?
आपके फेवरेट ओटीटी एप्स एक ऐप पे जी. मतलब नो अलग अलग पेमेंट, सिर्फ वन सब्सक्रिप्शन जी. और 12 एप्स के सारे कंटेंट इजी सर्च पे. मतलब नो ढूंढना, ओनली देखना जी.
मतलब टाइम ही टाइम जी.
थोड़ा हमारे लिए भी निकाल लेना जी.
अब टाटा प्ले के साथ लीजिए बिंज ऐप.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, early days here today from the Gujarat final. We've got Pawan getting into the lead. You've got a couple of others trying to chase him down. We'll show you all of that on the binge board as to who stands where in just a moment. But let me start with an audience question for you. You know what to do. You got to key into that chat box wherever you're watching this. The platform doesn't matter. And if you get it right, you stand to win a prize. You got to be quick too. All right, here's your question. It's a painting by William Holbrook Beard, a famous one, and the painting resulted in a phrase that's become extremely popular and synonymous with the stock markets. What's the phrase that I'm talking about? Key in your answers. Your time starts now. As we get back to our contestants, Tata Crucible campus from Gujarat. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Pig Brain, watching Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. Here's the binge board appearing on your screen, which tells us who is binging today. 3 of them on 75. Lucky, Vedant and Arth into an early lead with a good answer on Proton. Pawan from IIM Ahmedabad on 150. All of that can change and change very quickly. I'm sure Sheetal and Gaura will get onto that scorecard pretty quickly as well. For the moment, we move on to the second frontier of our battle here today. It's time for you to literally rely on your guts. Here it is. $75 the value, 5 seconds the time, starting with the first one on your screens now. This is an extremely important giant in the world, today better known as a telecom giant. Leo, Edward and Frederick were the original founders of this entity from Finland. What in the world are we talking about? Lucky's gone for it. Yeah, Lucky.
Yeah, Nokia.
Is absolutely right. I think one word in what I said made him press that buzzer, and that word I think was Finland. I think he's nodding his head and he says, yes, Finland was what made me decide, because you got so many telecom companies that came from that belt. And as questions progress, you do get added information from me. 75 to him. He moves to 150 as well. As we go to the next question on your screens now. This is Leo. He's called the King of Energy. He's an energy mascot for a Japanese giant getting into the battery game. Essentially produce, oh, Pawan's gone for it. Yes, Pawan?
Is it Panasonic?
Extremely well played. Oh, extremely well played. Panasonic is absolutely right. And well, as we talk of batteries, I'm reminded of Nexon EV, which is one of those supporting us here. It's really leading the revolution in India for electric vehicles and, of course, battery-powered vehicles. As youngsters, if you're planning to buy a car after you graduate and you get those fancy salaries that you do from institutes that you represent, I have a simple advice. If you're buying a car, start your life with an electric car. It's one small way to contribute to the environment. It's a nice way to do that. I personally drive one. I'm not speaking out of context, and it's a fabulous experience. But all of that is aside as we move on in this quiz for the next couple of questions, where you got to do a little bit of lateral thinking and give me an overall answer. Value and time remains absolutely the same. The battle's getting tight. Pawan's moving ahead again. He's on just past 200. On to the next question. Let's see what happens here. Here it is. All of these will lead you to a very important banking giant. Lucky has gone for it.
ICICI Bank.
Extremely well played. Oh, confident and quick on that one. It's a huge initiative by them, like we are celebrating India at 75. The Indian at Heart Club is something they've promoted in a big way for NRIs. Superbly played, 75 to him. So he's holding on to Pawan on that game. Vedang and Arth will have to score, as would Sheetal and Gaurav. The trick is to get the buzzer in quickly. Overall answer is what matters. On the next one, on your screen, here it is. All of this will lead you to a huge giant. Food and beverage. Vedang's gone for it. Your mic?
Yes, Nestle.
Yeah, Vedang?
Nestle.
Absolutely. Oh, Nestle is absolutely right. It takes him past the 100 mark. Everyone's really playing well. These are good clusters, like I told you. High quality institutes that take part, so you get very good contestants. And the scorecard reflects that. As we move on to the next one, here it is. All of this will lead you. Lucky's gone for it very quickly. Oh, Christian.
Instagram. See, Bourbon is initial name of Instagram. That's Kevin Systrom, the founder of Instagram.
Perfectly played. He knew everything about it. He gets to 300 and I think into the lead. He really played well to get on par with Pawan as Pawan kept scoring. But this has taken Lucky one step forward. Is this a tipping point in the quiz? Literally halfway, and then he gets into the lead. Pawan's now got to play the chasing game. As we go to the next one, onto your screens now. This is a huge campaign, an association with the World Wildlife Fund. Which Tata brand is taking up wildlife in a huge way with Amir Khan? 5 seconds running away, no one going for it. You're in fact going to have a lot of Gaurav, little late, I'm sorry, can't give it to you. 5 seconds of time has lapsed. The answer that I was looking for is Titan. Titan is going to be endorsed with Amir Khan and, of course, a World Wildlife Fund initiative. It's also going to lead to a collection from Titan. I think it's out already, I'm not too sure. As we go to the next one, hands on that buzzer. Guys, if you could just hold the buzzers a little up. You're moving close. Gaurav? Yeah, great. On to the next question. On your screen, here it is. Unemployee of the year. Oh, Lucky's gone for it very quickly.
See, the font looks like the United Colors of Benetton, so I'll go with UCB.
Quizzers can answer from anything, including a font. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And he gets a crucial 75 to get further distance from Pawan. So these are important answers from a strategic point of view at a Tata Crucible. They know it only too well. As we go to the next one, it's still midway, just past midway. On to the next one on your screens now. Which network? Someone's gone for it. Gaurav, it is from Irma.
Facebook.
Absolutely right. Public interest campaign saying your like can lead you into danger. Your like can hurt someone's feelings. Your like can ignite a riot. And these are all social behaviors that people try today to bring into people. Beautifully answered. On to the next one as Gaurav gets a 75 and the next one appears on your screens now. It's a two-word term that was coined in the 1950s, I think 53 or 54, by a person named Barnes. He was essentially into human relations and he was mapping relationships between individuals, indicating the way they connect through various familiarities, especially when they are with, a group of people or society. What two-word term actually is something from way back in the 1950s that we use so commonly like a modern trait? Fantastic two-word term. No one on the buzzer. I was presenting to you the history of the term social networking. Well, Pawan buzzing really late if he was thinking the answer was there. Social networking was a term that was coined long back, 1953, 54 is when we are talking. So it's like a 70-year-old almost name or term that we think is a modern trait. On to the next one on your screens. Identify the term from this image. It's typically a term. Gaurav's gone for it. Yeah, Gaurav.
Twitter.
Oh, I was looking for a term and I think I was very clear on that. It's very evidently Twitter. In the world, we say sweetheart. In the world of social media, this is called a tweetheart. Well, this is a new term in people's lexicon. It's called tweetheart. And that's the symbol which represents a tweetheart. Well, these are questions you people should know the answer to and not me, generationally speaking. But moving on to the next one, hands on the buzzer, question on your screen. Two more to go in this frontier. And then we've got the final frontier coming up. So these are crucial ones if someone's going to try and catch up with Lucky. Penultimate question on your screen now. Which popular brand name in the construction and agricultural equipment industry has become actually a generic term? Vedang has gone for it. Yes, Vedang.
JCB.
Beautifully played.
JCB.
Beautifully played. Perfectly answered. Vedang is not giving up. I think Vedang is also on par with Pawan, but I'll tell you after the next question. My mental math makes me believe that, and it could be a big battle for the second place. If Lucky moves ahead, then it's Pawan versus Vedang for the second place. So interesting movements coming in from Gujarat as we move to the final question in this frontier on your screens now. A phenomenal thinker, one of the world's richest consistently. Who is this great man whose enterprise made homes simple to create, or made interiors at homes simple to create? Lucky's gone for it. He's taking a shot. Yes, Lucky.
I'll guess it's Ingvar Comfort of IKEA.
Beautifully played. Beautifully played. Well deduced. These are questions where sometimes when you do not know, you work it out based on what the quizmaster tells you. And I think Lucky did that well. Lucky's really playing well now. He's not making any mistakes. He's scoring at a free will. But we'll tell you where exactly that has led him on the binge board on the other side of this very quick break. Stay with us. Two segments of quizzing done here. The game really now seems to be moving towards Lucky. But we think there is a huge second place battle, Vedang versus Pawan, that can unfold. Arth can come back too. So anything can happen in the last frontier. But before we get there and show you the binge board, let me ask you a couple more audience questions. You know what to do. Use that chat box and be quick. Here's your next question. I am a media entity. I am formed out of a partnership between the UAE government and the Galdari brothers. I happen to be the first English daily from the United Arab Emirates. Who am I? Key in your answers and you could win a prize, but I've got one more question for you to win. Here's one more. Easy one. This is more for our school boys and girls who follow Tata Crucible rather early in life. Let's see you get this. I'm going to give you a two-word clue. You got to crack a brand as your answer. Okay? The two-word clue for you is prancing horse. Simple. 2 words. Prancing horse. All you got to tell me is which brand does it lead you to. We'll get back to our final here, and it's a riveting one from Gujarat that you are watching. Tata Crucible Campus 2022. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Big Brain, watching a big final from Gujarat. Tata Crucible Campus 2022. The binge board tells you why I call it a big final. Here it is. You got some really top institutes of India which normally compete tooth and neck in a Gujarat final. No different this year. You got all of them stacking up in the final. You've got Arth from Nirma University on 75. He needs 1 or 2 good hits. He started well, but he needs more frequency of hits. Vedang on 225 has made a huge comeback. He's from Maika. Pawan was in the lead, but now he's in a precarious position. Well, he's got to defend a second place or choose to chase down Lucky, who's on 450 and in a very, very good position, especially if the first 2 questions go by in the next round. He's from IIM Ahmedabad and he is looking to get into the 24 of the country. As we move to the final frontier of this final, from this cluster at Gujarat, time for all our contestants to go for glory. Here it is. It's time for us here at Tata Crucible to go into the final frontier and to celebrate 75 years of Indian independence. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. In our own way at Tata Crucible, through our questions, we pay a tribute to the great brands, products, people, business tycoons, pioneers, all of them who have helped shape 75 years of India on the business front, the economic front, the industry front. All questions are therefore related to India. 75 remains the value, 5 seconds remains the time. 6 final questions will determine whether it's going to be Lucky moving into the nation's top 24 or is there going to be an upset from here. It can also decide whether it's going to be Vedang or Pawan who's going to be the runner-up, or is Arth or someone else going to do a dash back. The next 6 questions will tell us that as we start with the first of those 6. If you could hold your buzzers up in position. On to the first one on your screens now. India is important now, and the shaping of the e-commerce world of India has also been made possible with some global giants investing in the India story. Made by India, made for India. Your trusted store for new beginnings is which e-commerce giant making massive investments into India? Gaurav's gone for it. Sheetal was buzzing. She's just a little slow
Tata
there.
Neo.
Go ahead, Gaurav.
Tata Neo.
Well, I said investing in India. The Tatas are very invested in India anyway. He takes a minus 75, the answer that I was looking for. Amazon in India. It's a huge investment for a global giant, and all their campaigns are very Indian as they invest in the Indian e-commerce space. On to the next one on your screens now. Powering a new India, hunger is their domain. Food supply is their business. This is their CSR initiative. Arth is going for it. Yes, Arth.
Zomato.
Well, it's like a Pepsi versus Coke question. when you say Zomato, sometimes in life the answer is Swiggy. Hard luck. Hard luck to you on that. You got the context right, but it is Swiggy that I was talking of. Hope not hunger is what is on your screen. He takes a negative on that as we go to the next one on your screens now. Created by these two. Vedang is super quick. Ku is absolutely right. You really can't get it wrong from where you are located. Absolutely right to get a 75. Crucial one for Vedang because I think that takes him past Pawan. So Pawan's got to do something with 3 questions to go. Lucky seems really calm at this stage. Unless Vedang can get 2 more right, theoretically Lucky will still be watching that scorecard very, very carefully. As we go to question number 4. Hands on the buzzer on your screen now. He's an extremely important Indian who really led. Gaurav has gone for it. Go ahead, Gaurav.
MI Xiaomi.
Oh, minus 75 to you. Taking big risks. I'm surprised Pawan and Lucky didn't buzz because this is an illustrious alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad. The man
Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Sanjeev Bikhchandani, the man behind Naukri. Absolutely well played on that, but no points to you, Lucky. Sanjeev Bikhchandani, well, way back in time when I was in B school, I had a young Sanjeev Bikhchandani as one of my lecturers. So I've been taught by Sanjeev, and today, of course, he is an absolutely wonderful gentleman, really paving the way of pioneering entrepreneurial spirit in India, shaping 75 years of Indian independence. 2 questions remaining. Game is really now between Vedang and Pawan. Unless Vedang gets both right, then he'll force a tiebreaker. Penultimate question on your screen now. A legend whose thoughts still shape India's economy. Phenomenal thinker, arguably one of the minds that really led India's economic direction once we became an independent nation. Who is this great, great name in the world of economics? Whoa, Gujarat, not knowing this is surprising to me. 5 seconds of time lapsing. This is Mahalanobis. How could you all miss something like that? Lucky is pumping his fist. It's a rare occasion when you don't answer and you pump your fists. But then there is reason why he's done that, because he knows mathematically nobody can reach him now, and he is through into the nation's top 24. He's put his buzzers down and he says, I don't want to do anything. Well, he can still cross 500, nothing to lose, as we go to the final question. But that's a battle between Vedang and Pawan, because if Pawan gets that right, he's going to put the pressure back on Vedang. Final question on your screens now. These are trucks that came out of the Tata factories. Telco, as they were called in that generation. Vedang has gone for it. Ooh, wow, why would he do that? All right. What's...
I'll guess Mercedes.
Mercedes. Oh, who were the Tata partners in bringing out these trucks? And he says Mercedes-Benz. Vedang from Mica taking the initiative, not letting Pawan to come and steal that 75 probably. But that's a good attitude to have. Vedang did not mind losing a 75. You take the risk of making the mistake or getting it right. Vedang gets it right and moves to 375. Superbly played, Vedang, taking the initiative into his own hands. Pawan will really think back at this quiz. He started so well, really played well. He also, I think, knew a few in between, just slower on the buzzer on that one. Sheetal will tell, I need a lot of buzzer practice. She buzzed so many times. Look at that smile. She says, oh God, I was really slow compared to these guys. But superb quiz here today. But I'm going to go straight in because our guest has logged in and is waiting for us. So I will not take too much of her time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly a pleasure and privilege every time we come to Gujarat to have people who have overwhelmingly supported the idea of a Tata Crucible. And with us here today is one such person, an IIT alum herself. She's been a leader in the industry that she's been in for over 3 decades. She's led the TCS initiatives in Gujarat into a very, very important sector for the company and into a massive unit, which I think now has more than 10,000 or 15,000 associates. More than that, she's been a passionate advocate of this quiz and has thrown her office doors open for us when we did the quizzes in their atriums. Beautiful campus that they have in Ahmedabad. Truly wonderful to have you with us, ladies and gentlemen. The Delivery Center Head of Tata Consultancy Services, Ahmedabad, Ms. Namrata Sawani. Thank you so much, Namrata, for joining us and for the way you take time out every time we request it from you. All these are youngsters from your backyard. What's your message to them?
Yeah, thanks, Giri, for asking me again. It's always phenomenal to watch this competition. But a bit disappointed. It is lopsided. Only Ahmedabad here. We should have more cities coming in. To the youngsters, the messages last 2 years have been difficult. Most of you have been learning at home. Missing a lot of opportunities to interact with people, to have diverse viewpoints, to build more viewpoints over your own viewpoints, distill the noise out of things. So look forward to develop more interactions. And we spoke about social networking, not on Facebooks and LinkedIn, but in person. Wish you all the best as you aspire to become great entrepreneurs, business leaders, and whatnot.
Superbly said. Social networking, not on the internet. And that is so true. Very, very well said. We'll ask her to just stand by as we do the honors for our 2 prize winners here today. Finishing runner-up from Micah is Vedang. Congratulations. There he is, 18,000 to him, the certificate flashing there digitally as he emerges in the second position, upstaging Pawan to that. Getting into the nation's top 24, clinical as it can be, extremely well played, calm, collective, and well thought out. Our champion here today from IIM Ahmedabad, Lucky. Congratulations to you, 35,000 into his kitty, and he moves into the nation's top 24. If he continues to play with the alacrity that he did today, I really won't be surprised if he progresses forward from there. He's a good quizzer, he's got a legacy behind him. He's probably learned how to hold himself back a little bit, and I can see that now as the years grow. I think the calmness comes in, and he's played it with clinical precision here today to get himself into the nation's top 24. To all the rest of you, huge congratulations for making it this far. Never easy with the thousands and thousands of people who take part now digitally, and of course the 7 million plus who watch this quiz digitally. That is staggering. We'll go back to ma'am there for a quick moment. These are youngsters who are going to enter the workforce. You were very right in your advice to them. How do you see things moving forward as everyone hopes and believes the worst is behind us? What do you think are the traits people require? We had a change of traits for the last 2 years. What is it now as a leading corporate that you would share, ma'am?
I think teamwork is a trait that has got missed out. Everybody has become individual performers. So that's a trait that's got missed out totally. Empathy, I think a lot of it has got developed, but go for it attitude also will have to come back, right? We were all trying to just be there and sustain ourselves, but again, bringing back the need of excelling ourselves, going for something, raising the bar of what we want, that trait needs to come back.
Superbly said. I completely agree. The hunger to perform, sometimes sitting in our homes, you just start doing the obligatory part and not raising the bar. So well said. So true as well. And that's really what a Crucible tries to do. It pushes you, and for the moment, it was Lucky who got through here today. We'll let Namrata leave us, and then I'll do the retakes. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry to have troubled you on a Sunday morning. Apologies for that.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Look forward to seeing you sooner than later. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after that remarkable final here today from Gujarat, Vedang missing out. Pawan could be thinking I could have easily finished second here today. But I think in my mind there was no doubt about who would win after the first half of the quiz, because I would like to think, and it's a fair assessment I'm making from the distance we are in, that Lucky probably chose not to answer a couple of questions. He probably just held back and said, fine, I've done my job. I don't want to overdo it. I know I'm in the nation's top 24 and that's my target. So that's a good play, which means he could have easily gone to 500 plus or so. So he seems extremely solid. He's our champion who will lead the way into the 24 from Gujarat, as we will come back to you with the next cluster. But for the moment, from my young colleague Rashmi Furtado, from me, Pig Brain, to all of you watching Tata Crucible out there, keep watching, stay safe. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.